Well, it's National Cuban Sandwich Day, and music like this inspires me to eat.
I'm wearing my Westchester.
How much do you love a Cuban sandwich? What do you like the most about a Cuban sandwich?
The first bite.
Okay, well, that's a good start. I like when it comes out of the press and that bread is so hot and all of the contents are congealed and melted together.
Where's your favorite place to get a Cuban?
There's this place up on 19th and 2nd in downtown Miami, north of downtown, called Enriqueta's. When I worked in that area years ago, it was my favorite place to go for breakfast.
You didn't invite us
or lunch. Cuban
Julian,
sandwich,
did he invite you?
Or you could get amazing, huevos con queso y tostada con mucho mantequilla.
Well, what other national holiday?
By the way, that was Buena Vista Social Club, by the way.
Wow. What other national holiday is it?
Were you belching into the microphone?
No, not all.
You're going to want to have these cleaned afterwards, Julian.
So
it's also National Sponge Cake
Well, I
Day.
couldn't find a...
Oh, my gosh.
It's not a real sponge cake,
But
but...
it's spongy looking. I just made fun of you.
I know.
In the fact that you don't ever bring me anything anymore.
I love it.
And was this in your lap?
No, straight on the tray.
All right, so is this lemon?
Oh my gosh.
It does look kind of bunty and spongy. Okay, let's try it.
So what is a sponge cake?
So a sponge cake is usually made in what's called a spring form pan, which allows for that sponginess, so it comes away from the sides of the pan. But a bun cake, I feel like, is in the same family. Sponge cake is super light. If you don't have like a traditional biscuit, like for strawberry shortcake, you could use a piece of sponge cake.
Is this close enough?
Yeah, my goodness. Settle down over there. This is divine. And people should know off air, I just berated you over the fact that you did not bring me a Cuban sandwich.
Well,
and you're just so sly. You're like, well.
Okay, what else we got going? I have to.
You are hilarious, Grant Miller.
Okay, we still have to go over some interesting things.
You want to swallow first? Do you need Julian to get you some water?
I have it.
All right. I'm concerned that you're a little.
By the way, everybody asked me to know why. Yes, I love Westchester. Yes.
Didn't we do a video about Westchester a couple of months ago?
About a year ago.
It was a big hit, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about important things. Your godson.
Yes. So little Marco turned 17 this weekend, and where
does he live?
He lives in the Springs where I live, just down the street.
What high school?
He goes to Coral Reef. He's in the IB program.
That's a long drive.
But he got a new car, and so he's driving every day to school. Like
that's still a long drive.
I know, but he drives. He and his sister, they're up super early and
driving
school. To Coral Reef. Great school, great IB program, and he's doing great. And they had him start a couple of days early because they're going to take off that whole week of Thanksgiving. I don't know if you know that, but they started Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
That's smart.
Well, they have a lot of kids that are out and a lot of families traveling, and a lot of teachers aren't here. So it's really hard to even staff or give, quality instruction. So they started 3 days early, which was a little bit funky starting on a Wednesday, but also good prep and practice. But Marco was already driving to school back in the spring to get ready.
What about his birthday party?
Oh, so his birthday party was Saturday, and
where?
At his home in the spring. So I had told his dad who was out of town. Well, I wasn't really invited, but as my friend Marco, his dad, says, you're always invited. It's an open door. Well, let me just say, I'm not sure that's the case anymore because I was not well behaved. But I will tell you this, he invited all of his buddies. I think what's cool about him is that, he has maintained a lot of nice relationships from elementary, middle, and high school. And so he invited those folks to come to his party, and they were...
What street does he live on?
They're in the bird section, Plover. So I know you know the Springs well. You're spending a lot of quality time there. Are you in real estate now?
No. My friend just built...
Why don't I just talk while you eat? You ate half of the half.
Well...
That's like a quarter of the bunt. Do you ever remember the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Please.
All right. So at the wedding rehearsal dinner, the family of the groom show up and they brought a bundt cake.
That is the funniest movie.
All of the folks who are in Tula's family don't understand the fact that it has a hole in it. A bundt is unknown to them. You know, a bundt comes with a hole in it. Typical kind of spring pan. And so the mother-in-law to be explains, you know, it's a bundt. And the lady says, a bunt. No, a bundt. A bunt. A bunt. A bundt.
Okay, you can watch it.
And what did she do?
What?
She put a plant in the middle, and you hear in the background from one of the cousins or family members, "Hey, you fixed it."
That's one of the movies you could watch over
100 times. I love that movie. It's funny in every sense because it isn't so much about being Greek, although that's a lovely layering. It's about how families are.
And how she made fake heritage that he was the king or something.
Everything. Yeah, well, that was in My Big Fat Greek Wedding too. She doctored a letter to say that he was descended, her father, from Alexander the Great.
Okay, so you had a birthday party. You went to a high school birthday party.
Yeah, I was only there for a few minutes, but so my nephew didn't invite any girls.
He's 17.
No, but you got to have a girl, right? When I asked him if any girls were coming, you know what he told me? His mom, a nearly 50-year-old woman. So I went over there and I said, you know what? You're having what we would refer to in the lexicon.
Don't say it. Don't
as a
say
sausage party. So I brought everybody at the party a gift of a Vienna sausages as their goodbye gift when they left. Because, of course, he hadn't thought about that. You got to have like a gift bag to go. So now each of them had a gift bag with a Vienna sausage in it.
Okay, let's talk about some. You're going to Maine soon.
Yes, I'm leaving at the end of the week.
Is Monty Trainer up there?
Yes, but I don't think I'm going to be near where he's going to be. Because I'm flying into Boston and then I'm going up to Bangor and Bar Harbor and Portland.
Does he own a hotel or something up there?
I think that at one time they had an inn or a bed and breakfast.
What happened? They don't own it anymore?
I don't think so. But Monty loves being in Maine in the summer. I was listening to a news report this morning that because of the drought and the dryness and the heat that's happened in upstate New York and Manchester, New Hampshire and all over Maine, that the trees think it's the fall, that it's really dry. And so the leaves are already beginning to dry out, which causes the color to change and the chlorophyll and everything. So in a way, although I'm not, supporting global warming and, the effects of heat and what it's doing to our foliage, it'd be lovely to see some different colorations in the trees. I feel like I'm going just a little bit early in the normal sense.
So how long are you going to be gone?
6 days.
No show next week?
Well, I couldn't do a show next week anyway because we're having a restaurant meeting. I'll be back at noon that day.
What restaurant meeting for what? What?
We have a quarterly restaurant meeting and
Where?
We've got a lot of issues to talk about. This will be at Vinya Table. So if you're one of our restaurants or you are a restaurant in Coral Gables, join us next week, Tuesday, the 30th at 3 p.m. because there are 3 very big discussion items on the agenda. The city is going to be allowing food trucks, even though not in the central business district, but that could have an impact on our restaurants.
Could, it will.
We're going to be talking about the Food and Beverage Show in September that's being hosted by the World Trade Center Miami.
That's a great story.
And kind of, post August 31, sidewalk cafe opportunities.
I have personal issues about the trucks.
I'm using that as a mirror, you realize. I feel like I have a bump or something here on my chin.
You might.
Yes, well, this is not the city's doing. This was a preemption done by the state allowing food trucks to operate. What we're trying to do is mitigate.
Okay. Just put it in the area that...
Right, so that's what the city's doing, is trying to create a mitigation in order to make it work. And so it's on Wednesday, tomorrow's agenda, and we will be, asking them to potentially defer the item until we can talk with our restaurants about it.
It will not affect high-end restaurants, but anything, when I say high-end, there's a lot of high-end restaurants.
Yes.
But the grab and goes,
but I think it affects lunchtime.
Oh, absolutely.
And, that's a very important, forgive the phrase, bite at the apple for our businesses.
Roach coaches, what do they call?
Those are allowable under a different ordinance.
What is
roach coach?
No, the truck. Food trucks.
Food trucks. So roach coach is more like go to a construction site.
A food truck.
And they've got big gulps and
Snickers food
bars.
Trucks. I think they should be allowed in July and August. That's it.
Well, we're working with the city, to discuss this, but our restaurants will be weighing in next week. I'm hoping that the mayor might defer the item until we can have the restaurant's feedback.
Okay, so I understand you're doing a little house cleaning and you got a new mattress.
I did. I couldn't remember the last time I had bought a mattress, but I was having an issue where, I was kind of sinking into it. It's a pillow top. And as I get older and my body has changed dramatically since I bought that mattress.
Now you're 100
I need
pounds
something with a little more firmness to it.
But now, last night was your first night. How'd it go?
Well, I slept, so I guess that's a good sign. I feel like it's a little hard though, but it has a 100-day guarantee. It's a Sealy brand beauty rest. It was about $1,000 for the mattress.
Where'd you get it?
I got it at Mattress Firm, which is was having a Black Friday sale like a month ago, and I bought it then.
Wow.
I looked at a lot of mattresses. I looked at the ones that come to your house and you just unpack them and they puff up.
I had that one.
I was a little concerned about that because one, I wanted my old mattress hauled away, and two, I wanted something that I had, experienced. So I had gone to Mattress Firm.
Are you one of those guys that tested like 100 mattresses?
I wouldn't say 100, but I knew I wanted something a little firmer. I knew I wanted something with a different kind of cooling coil structure, and I knew I didn't want a pillow top again. The problem with the pillow top is you can't flip it or, really keep it longer because you can rotate it, but you end up with kind of like two divots.
Right.
So, I made a joke that I, found some missing twinks.
Me too. All right, let's talk about last week. I couldn't make it Thursday, but before we go to Thursday,
I'm so disappointed.
Friday morning, I show up
19th.
Incredible. The setup, it was exciting. You want to talk about that Thursday morning?
Well, you're talking about our annual meeting, our annual conference. So congratulations.
It used to be called Goals Conference.
We used to call it a Goals Conference probably my first 5 years. And what people would tell me was that their company didn't want to spend $200 for them to spend the day talking only about the chamber, and, we heard that message. And, other local chambers do annual meetings. Others do goals conferences. Some do a hybrid. I would tell you ours is a hybrid that is, 75% you and 25% us. So for example, the opening breakfast was about branding, and we brought in a big company that does work with big brands, including Doctors Hospital and Baptist Health. And they gave a great presentation that I think was very scalable to businesses of all sizes on how you can use your brand.
It was,
to send a very strong message of, what are you aligned with? Who are you aligned with? What are you focused on? So
Baptist, even though they have a bunch of zeros after their name, their marketing is the same for everybody. Just scale it down. They're telling you exactly how to.
Well, think about it. They have a significant number of units that are similar to like our businesses,
like a local restaurants.
Yeah,
I was impressed.
But they also disclosed the fact that they were having a struggle. And I think the first time and the first conversation you need to have is, what is not resonating with people? What are people not seeing, hearing, trusting in, or valuing that would be important to, update? When the chamber moved 2 years ago, we made a commitment. One, update our business model, and two, change our brand. It's not all that different. Within our new logo, now 2 years old, is a legacy logo of old.
Can you
with
find
a
that,
modern
Julian?
Update. So I'm sure that's what doctors was seeing in terms of their orthopedic center, that it was sort of getting lost in the larger brand, but it had its own unique characteristics, and it also had its own doctors who are the top of their game in orthopedic medicine. So I think you got a nice conversation from Justin about what Monogles does But he also talked about Starbucks' evolution of their brand and other things that all of us pay attention to. Your shirt represents a brand.
Well, regarding Doctors Hospital, the orthopedic, they're just rebranding at the new location, at the same location, different products. And it's like that's the center of sports. You get hurt, that's where you want to go.
Yeah, so there you go. So if you look in the Chiron under my name or next to my name, what you see is inside the tiles is the Legacy logo. The arch was our logo from probably 2005 to 2020. So about 15 years. Then we worked with a company who said, when I think of Coral Gables, I think of the beautiful art and tile work. So there's the evolution.
Pop it on there.
So you see a lot of different looks. And then what we do with is we play with that tile structure, which is an homage to Miracle Mile. Wait. All of the tiles that were put in as part of the new streetscape, Giralda, major parts of our business community. And you can invert it any number of ways. You can make the logo white, like you see under me. You can make it black where the tiles pop. But I really fell in love with this logo because it kept our original brand.
There it is.
And added to it. So we play sometimes with the tiles. So those orange and greens are part of our Legacy logo.
So there's 4
city colors, university, chamber.
Okay, so there's 4 to 5 things in there. Gables colors, colors, the arch, Miracle, look like Miracle Mile.
Yeah, so the arches are the entrance on Miracle Mile.
Yes.
The tiles represent what you see all over Coral Gables. Pavers, tiles. That's a legacy of the community. So, we got professional help. We showed it to a ton of folks. And little by little, we came here. And then what we can do is during certain times of the year, we can play with the tiles. So I saw when Julian pulled that up, rainbow colors. We did that during Pride Month. I've seen it with red when we've done it during Heart Month, pink when we do it during Breast Cancer Month.
And people love it.
I think they do. I think they appreciate that we are recognizing that our marketing cannot be independent of our brand, that our brand needs to speak to our members, but it also needs to speak to our history, today, and into the future. So we are, much like Baptist went through and anybody who was sitting in that breakfast, which, by the way, had a huge turnout to start the morning. That isn't always the case. I think we had about 175 people.
The day, so you had the breakfast, and what happened after that?
Then we went right into a panel about communities of excellence. Again, that's a little more inward focused and outward focused. Remember I said about 75% of our annual meeting is really about you, Grant Miller. What can you walk away with? A new contact, a new relationship, a new business opportunity, or I'm going to go back and talk to the team about our brand. All of that is interwoven. Then we talked about our strategic plan. That was 100% about us. Where are we headed as an organization over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, and it was in the whole 2 days. That was really the only time we really talked about
100%. Then the others, where pieces were woven into it. Then we had a panel on industry talking about real estate and other things. And then we moved right into an amazing lunch with General Laura Richardson, which I think is incredibly important for people to hear from the leaders of our hemisphere. She's not a community leader. She's a hemispheric leader. She is a global leader. She is the only woman right now in the entire army of the United States of America whose lapel has 4 stars on it.
Totally impressive.
Very impressive. So I think, when I'm talking to members, Friday and then yesterday and today, and of course, talking with Thad, that was for most people the biggest blow your mind moment.
Because there's not many women like that.
Not many women like that. There's not a lot of people like that who have that type of pedigree, who spend their time talking to community organizations like ours. I don't believe she's spent a lot of time in front of the Chamber of Commerce community. She's spoken to the consular community. She's spoken to, of course, the military community. But she was speaking to business, and she made a very strong business case about housing, about helping her, when we're up on the hill and saying we've got a bunch of positions open that require confirmation, can we advocate on her behalf? You know how many years they've been wanting to put housing next to Southcom? finally the FAA has given them the thumbs up, and now it's back to the county to give them approvals with the city of Doral.
City of Doral will support it. Okay, next thing.
I have no doubt, JC, but JC is going to be moving from that role
real quick, and then
probably today. I expect him to win election today.
I hope so.
It's election day, by the way, when we are.
I voted. I voted early and often.
Early and often.
Okay, so regarding the afternoon.
In the afternoon, we had a great panel. Baptist has an incredible relationship through doctors, through the orthopedic center, with 4 of the major sports teams here.
It was, those 4 guys. Was it 4?
Yep, we had from Inter, the Panthers,
who was the
Heat,
who was
and
the
the
MC?
Dolphins. A guy named Mark Bluestein, who works with Baptist and doctors to help them with their branding and alignment.
He was in the
marketing.
pink jacket, right?
He was.
Okay.
I thought he was great. He had a ton of energy, and knows all of these other gentlemen really well, that he could have a little fun.
It's
with
funny
them.
because it was a little confusing because he was like one of them.
Well, he's been in the business so long. I know. He might as well be. He knows what his client's value is, and he knows what their value is, and his job is to create a marriage.
And it's interesting. They all spoke about different things of what they need to do. They're all the same, but like the Panthers, they draw from Naples.
Right. Their approach is going to be different. I also thought it was very important that, at the end, the gentleman Javier, who's worked for Barca and other major brands in terms of soccer, is all about, building momentum for their future home in Miami. So right now they're playing in Fort Lauderdale. They've got a great park up there.
I don't know why they want to leave.
Time, energy, and money that Fort Lauderdale put into that for what may end up being a 3-year, 4-year stay.
But that stadium's built. It
was the old Lockhart.
But now that team, that's where probably going to be their spring training facility.
No, it will always have a role. But he talked about the relationship with AutoNation and how in the end, because David Beckham was so wedded to the black and the pink, there was incredible synergy there with their Drive Pink program for breast cancer.
Canner is the marketing guy for AutoNation. I knew him 40 years ago when he was a VP at a bank. Now he's a big dog. All right, so that was impressive.
Big dog,
no,
Grant Miller.
That was impressive. I don't usually sit and be quiet. That was an interesting thing. And then
were you quiet?
Yes.
I feel like you were going to ask a question about sausages.
Yeah, no. And then next one was, so I walked out and walked in. I walked in with the AD. You had old Don Bailey. Now, if you don't know who Don Bailey is,
he's the naked carpet guy.
Right. With his father and his grandfather.
And now him.
He was outstanding with that AD. My opinion.
Great interview. The only thing I would have done differently was make the stage feel a little more intimate. Because there were, some other chairs up there at a podium that needed to be removed. Well, but it's hard to do because you're flipping a room.
Right. And it's
in a 5-minute period. So
outstanding. Okay. So a home run. This event.
It's not easy to coordinate 30 speakers, 8 panels and speakers, and, a couple hundred folks that attend during the day. So, the breakfast had a big audience.
Oh, we got the last show.
Alan.
The Alan show.
Well, it was Alan and a lot of his, really good colleagues. So Alan wrote a book called All In. We gave each one of the Friday and Full delegates a copy of that book. And then he led a very all-star, panel talking about being all in professionally, personally, and spiritually. And I think it ended on such an important note, which is at the end of the day, you and I are sitting here and we do this show week after week. And our good friends and close friends know us beyond the personas and personalities that are here. And you and I are pretty open book. So people hear about, jokes about, your dates and my mattress and whatever it may be. But there's always a piece that people don't share.
And that's why he has.
And this panel put that all out there. Vulnerable, authentic, in some ways emotional.
And they don't always do that.
Faith-based. I don't think anybody's surprised when Ron Sheffield talks about his faith because he's a very open and honest gentleman, but to hear it in that context
It was emotional
with others was really powerful.
He didn't really, he talked about faith, but he didn't talk about the Tennessee. He loves Tennessee, doesn't he?
He does. He's, he knows it's going to be another tough year for the University of Tennessee.
But it was emotional.
I think he's keeping that under wraps.
And the merit room, I love the merit room.
Yeah, the only thing that's tough in there is that you put 100 people in there at the end of the day and it's a little dark. I had a moment where I was like this. I keep it together.
Now you know why I don't sit. If I sit, I'd be out.
Tip over?
Oh, I'd crash.
Are you narcoleptic?
I'm everything.
So, you're everything.
Okay, so great event. Then you had cocktails after that. I called it a day.
Yeah, we had a great reception. That reception is tough because after, a 10-hour day, people are pooped, especially on a Friday. And it's been a long week. We've already had a women's lunch that week and the Marlins event, the dinner the night before. So, I know my staff is definitely the case. But I left there around 6:30, 6:45, and I was going to go to the office and catch up on some things. And I thought, I'm just going to go home.
So speaking about that, women's luncheon, Docs Rocks. Let's talk about that.
We had a group of 3 incredible doctors talking about everything from women's gynecological health to back pain to cardiology issues and cardiac issues. And they were all 3 ladies, and they were such a great compliment to each other. We had a wonderful moderator who also leads in the cardiac division. He has his own podcast, but
who's that?
I don't remember his name, but super nice guy.
His podcast is not on community newspaper, so I don't know who he is.
Well, I think it does pretty well on Baptist.
Yeah, well, so we've got to talk about Jean Prescott.
But they rock. These docs rock. This one woman brought a model of like your spine, and then it had like a balloon in it, and she showed like when it's compressed, what happens. And so the balloon, comes out under stress. So that's like when you have a herniated disc or maybe even, potential paralysis. Pretty impressive with dealing with that. Women are a lot better at assessing their bodies than men are.
But women don't go to doctors as much as men.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I thought that's what they discussed.
Because I think women go every year for a mammogram. They go every year for a pap smear. Guys may go once a year to their general, but not always. Like you just talked about, having your birthday suit inspected.
I did. Today I went to my dermatologist, and they burned something off my back. They checked. They checked.
So somewhere here in Miami is someone who's been horrified today, ladies and gentlemen. So I need my prayer warriors to pray for him or her.
Okay, talk about prayers. Let's talk about Jean Prescott.
Fully nude?
No. Jean Prescott.
Jean Prescott, president of the Biltmore Hotel and managing shareholder at Seaway Properties, won our Georgie Merrick Award. And what a huge crowd.
Well
we had
deserved.
Over 300 people. Very well deserved. And he gave a great speech. But the best part is that, we commit that event to be out by 9 o'clock. So, 6 o'clock to 7 is a reception. Everybody's seated upstairs, 7:15, which is a yeoman's task, given that we have 305 guests. Beautiful room. Thanks to Martine Morcillo and the team at Smash Pixel. They did this beautiful green uplighting. Just lovely, lovely. And so when it was time to give him an award, it was like 8:40, right? 8:45. I'd sent the MC up, and it took a minute or two to make sure we had Alan to come up and make the announcement, Alan Morris. And Gene went to the bathroom. So we lost him at some point in the evening.
And like me, he probably has a special bathroom in his hotel that he
Very
uses.
likely. But I will tell you that, Alan's like, we'll be right back. So now we have everybody. We'll be right back.
How long
and
was
then
it?
Maybe 5-7 minutes. But the best part was one of our past chairs said to me, Gene is in the bathroom. I'm like, yeah, we figured it out. He goes, when I got in there, he was already in there. And I told him that they were ready to give him the award. And he goes, well, they very well can't do that without me.
Good answer.
Great answer. And he gave a beautifully, warm and endearing speech. And his 3 children were there, grandson. Really lovely.
Well deserved, and he's done a lot of great things for our community.
No, and I want to say a special thank you to Matthias Kammerer, Tom Prescott, of course, Gene, for always making us feel so welcome, at the Biltmore. They give us great priority, great deals, great food, great service.
That to me,
beautiful.
Biltmore has great service. The manager, I forgot his name.
Matthias.
No, not him. He's the GM. He runs the thing. The manager that usually does the chamber events. He's always there. But their staff is just great. All their staff.
Yeah. No, they make you feel very special there. And where else would you want to be other than in the warm embrace of a beautiful historic hotel that has so many stories to tell, including Mr. Prescott. But, we had a room that was absolutely filled with admirers as much as we had a room filled with, very important leaders who have been committed to our chamber, to Coral Gables, to Gene and others for many, many years. So I'm very impressed with, that whole process. If that was a blueprint for the first 13 years, and that's our future, we're in great shape. And
let's read the comments before we go to the next thing. What did George have to say?
All right. Sausage. Oh, Sarusi is the best. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
What's up, my friends? Yes. Hello.
Havana Harry's?
Yes. Pepe and Mark are the new owners, and we know them from their days at 3 other local restaurants. They also own where Coyo Taco is.
They own
Sweet Green.
They own Sweet Green?
The new Thomas Keller restaurant that's coming in.
All I know is
called Bouchon Bistro.
Harry's is the best deal in town. They give you a salad like $12.
It's enormous. A few years ago, we did a fun little thing where we took the principal of Carver there, because 3 of my board members' kids went to Carver at the time. And I had to literally pack stuff up to go because it was so delicious.
What did they say about Evan? I can't see that.
Where are we looking?
Under George.
With Evan Kantarakis, may he rest in peace.
Well, I don't know what that is. So
hi, Gio. Great. Hello, Gio. Amazing event from beginning to end. Thank you. Well, thank you for that. We really were very proud of the speakers. You never really know. You put together a plan. So you start with a topic, then you start to think of speakers, and you got to get them committed. Then they have to work together. So, I think between writing up scripts and putting together speakers and panels, that's hundreds of hours of preparation. That just doesn't happen on its own. So, some are a little bit stronger at doing that than others, but all of us are the beneficiaries. So,
all right, let's
producer, please post my questions. Oh, that's you, Julian. I see it. George, I see. Hi, Gio. We should do the show from there. He has had a bar in the center of town in Bar Harbor.
Bar Harbor, Maine.
You're talking about Monty.
Yeah.
Wiener Schnitzel. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about.
I love Wiener Schnitzel.
So last week, Chamber Day at Marlins Stadium.
Yeah, we were out at Lone Depot Park on Wednesday with Kim Eng, Caroline O'Connor. I emceed a panel with them about, everything from their day-to-day to the stressors in their life. How do they balance things, and being women leading at the highest level of the major leagues.
Well, we were in the what bar were we in? What was it? Section? Whatever it was.
The Brew Town.
Yeah, so they sell peanuts.
Biscayne Brew Hall.
A local owner. I had peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
It made such a mess, but I don't care. I love peanuts. You go to a baseball game, you have to have hot dogs, and you got peanuts.
First of all, let me remind you of 3 takeaways. 1, we were playing the Padres.
Okay.
I feel like that's one of the teams in the National League we as Miamians know the least about.
Right.
They also wear brown as their primary color.
Brown and yellow.
Yeah.
Whew.
Then when I walked into the stadium at 2:30, the best part was there was uno Padres fan standing and doing a bunch of selfies. And I yelled out, "Ladies and gentlemen, the world's last Padres fan."
Yeah, it was interesting. Okay, so let's talk about it. Great attendance, right?
Yeah, well over 100 people. We sold 150 tickets just to the game. And then they gave out some great prizes. They raffled off first pitch, a baseball bat. I think you got raffled.
I didn't get raffled. I didn't get anything.
I think you got raffled off, though. A night with Grant Miller?
No, didn't happen. Okay.
Not yet.
So it was a great event. Thank you, the chamber organization.
Well, I think it's the coalition of chambers working closely with a dozen of our local chambers. Not every one of the coalition members chose to participate. Listen, it was a tough day. One that was supposed to happen opening day, March 31st last year.
Right.
Of course, with the 2-week delay to the start and then us starting on the road, it kind of went by the wayside. But we picked this date because we knew it was going to be an earlier game, because it's easier to keep people when it's 4 o'clock. They can still work till like 2.
But
we didn't realize all the way back in March that it was going to be the first day of school. So that was tough for folks.
She had Miami-Dade Chamber.
Miami-Dade Chamber.
Venezuelan Chamber.
Correct. They're not part of the coalition, but I did meet their folks.
And they showed up.
Chemical.
Gay
and Lesbian Chamber. Our chamber, of course, and Greater Miami Chamber.
And Chamber South. So it was a nice turnout. It was great. I met the Venezuelan chamber people.
You really are enamored with those folks.
No, they were talking to me, because he's standing next to him. I'm giving peanuts. So, everybody likes somebody.
You're feeding him like he's,
like in
the zoo.
Okay, so we got gem dinner. When's that coming up?
That was the dinner for Mr. Prescott.
Right. New chair is taking over soon.
Yep. I mean, even though we had the transition, Thad technically starts next Thursday, the 1st. So I had a meeting with him this morning. We did a recap on the conference, and then we had a nice chat about, Nick. Usually I like to invite the chair in to have lunch with the staff so they get to know them a little bit better, but also allows them the opportunity to appreciate that, my staff, I think, wakes up each and every day with, how do we support our members? How do we make our chair look good? And how do we avoid Mark?
I think the last one is the most important one.
Well, they're doing great today.
So I can't wait for roast and toast.
Yep, that's next Wednesday, the 31st, honoring Anna Chowie, our outgoing chair.
Is Jose, her husband, going to be there?
Oh, gosh, I hope so. Erica and I went over the list today.
He's my new buddy.
I wanted to make sure that Jose was coming. Juan Carlos, your one-day intern.
It was
Frank, her son, her daughter-in-law, their respective spouses, the 2 grandbabies, and then, of course, some people from, the bank.
We got social media still plugging away.
Social media is doing great. Christine, let me say thank you, and I apologize, and please forgive us. We drove her nuts over the last 2 weeks because she's also filling in right now.
Right.
For Morgan on family leave.
And then we got...
Has anybody heard from Morgan?
Morgan, how you doing?
Morgan.
Trustees? Any new trustees?
Morgan.
Hey, Julian, any more questions?
Hello.
Any 2 new trustees?
We have 2. We've got 3 in the hopper.
Okay.
Producer, please post my questions.
Yes, George, we're with
George,
you.
did you write that again?
No. Okay.
Oh. So what does it say? We should make some embroidered polos.
I don't know. He thinks we should have some shirts.
You and I?
Yeah.
What would it say? We don't even have a name for our show.
I know.
I can't even get you to wear a collared shirt.
Well, today was.
I won't do this show. I won't do this show without a jacket on.
Okay.
I know, but we're not in Westchester, and we're not supporting Westchester businesses at this moment.
Well,
we're
that's not true. I had
Gables.
I had tater tots,
Trotots,
and then I had a soubrette with chili. I can't.
You're gonna be all right. You
What?
need to go potty?
No, I'm fine. I had 2 hot dogs today, but who's counting? All right. So what's up with the chamber? What's happening next week?
So next week is the end of our fiscal year. We'll have a restaurant meeting on Tuesday, Anna's Roast and Toast on Wednesday, and then Thursday we roll right into it, starting with
what?
A couple committee meetings on Thursday, and then Friday's kind of a quiet day because it's leading into the long holiday weekend.
I don't like these long holidays.
I know, but we think a lot of people will probably take a half a day on the 2nd. So I'm emceeing the city's Employee of the Year breakfast. I used to do that for many years, and then they didn't do them during COVID, and so I'm back. And what typically happens is I get invited, and then I get fired from that.
Are you going to get the new shot when it comes out in September?
There's another shot?
Yeah.
Well, I had my monkeypox shot yesterday, and
oh, really?
I had a little bit of a reaction. Maybe it was monkeypox shot with a long day and a new mattress. I don't know. And then last night, after I had my AC serviced, it wasn't cooling. I'm like, how is that possible? My house was like 78,
Oh my
And my
goodness.
nephew's like, "Well, go and close the French doors that go out to my patio." He goes, "Maybe it's kind of warm in there because there's no air conditioning in there."
Hot.
No, the AC people left the back door wide open.
What about your dog?
Well, he was in the room with me.
Yeah, but it could have happened. Could have escaped.
He is not going to venture anywhere. He is 14 years old.
Wait,
But all that heat at 84 degrees out was coming in, and it was counterbalancing my air conditioning.
Who's BMT is a new trustee?
BMT is one of our 2 new trustees. The other one is Gem RT. BMT is a marketing and branding company, and I met Julio Fernandez and team at the at the annual conference. And then Gem RT, a CPA firm, joined last week. We've got 3 trustees that we're working on to close by next Wednesday. And we're having an okay month. I mean, August used to be our really big month because we used to do the annual conference back in June.
Right.
Now that's flipped. So most of our work towards the directory takes place in June and early July. So our new directory debuted. Check your mailboxes. These things were mailed lickety split. I got mine on Thursday in my mailbox, and it's incredible. It's the biggest, directory we've ever had. Of course, we have a huge membership right now. We're really proud to be the biggest, biggest chamber right now. So,
well, Core Gables, 25 years ago, downtown was downtown.
Yeah.
The center of Dade County now is Core Gables.
It's Coral Gables, and you might even say a little further south. We've seen where people live, work, and play has moved further south. Certainly people still come into the Gables, like 48,000 to work every day, and they go downtown, and people are back, even if it's 2-3 days a week at their offices. But that's good. That's good for our restaurants and our retailers who count on people coming in and shopping and dining during the day.
To wrap it up,
you done talking to me?
Yeah, one of your members did a commercial for the governor.
I saw it for the first time yesterday.
Wow.
For Governor DeSantis.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Steve Bradley from Clutchburger did a whole, commercial around the fact that the governor was very assertive in opening the economy, and it helped small businesses and restaurants like his. But I love the way he opens and says, we told our employees on day 1 of COVID, they didn't have to worry about, not working or where their next meal was going to come from. Because Steve was going to take care of them. And let me tell you, so many of our small businesses did just that. I'm proud that our chamber did that. We were doing service-based, work with no events other than virtual. And we could have easily, trimmed that down to 2 people. And we said, we're going to keep you all on the payroll.
Well, it was the biggest success. Well, it's a wrap today, Mark.
Well, I feel like Julian has something to say.
Julian? Maestro? I don't know. Let's put some music on.
I want you to know that I feel really confident when the producer goes, I don't know. Well, first of all, thank you for the big surprise of my now partially eaten cake. You put a hurt on that. I think people should see the difference of what you ate and what I ate, which I don't really get because I'm hungry all the time and I'm like a big dude. Look at this. So that's your end, which looks kind of like a rat, like mounted.
And look at your end.
Mine has
a mouse.
1 bite. Well, I have learned one thing in COVID and during this weight loss and workout period is a little bit of self-control. Not every day, and every day is a battle. Love is a battlefield. Did you see that wonderful story about Pat Benatar and her husband of 40 years, who's her collaborator, and how together they're going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Exciting.
So I love Pat Benatar. I wish we had some Pat Benatar, Julian. Could we do that? How about hit me with your best shot? Because that's what I'm about to do to Michael Miller, who's come into the studio. You're going to have some fake sponge, but it's spongy.
You think you came
hit me with your best shot, flying away.
What was that?
I think that was the part that they put on before they put on the music video. So Pat Benatar, one of my favorite growing up,
Still your favorite.
Still one of my favorites. Still performing, going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is Hit Me With Your Best Shot. I also love Love Is a Battlefield. She had a ton of hits. This is my era, 70s, 80s. Hit me with your best shot.
Bam.
Such soft hands for a man. Anyway, we're going to sign off on that note. You know, we have a script, ladies and gentlemen. I want to assure you that we begin every show with a plan. And almost every show, including this one, we come off the rails at some point. I don't know if it's because of our genuine affection for one another or you're just, you know, the guy who writes his name in wet cement. I don't know that. Anyway, I will tell you this. If you're interested in joining our chamber, well, the next 8 days are your big moment. I think we've got somewhere around 12 or 13 members who've joined this month. We'd love to finish on a high note. It's been a great year for chamber membership, engagement, and involvement, but that only begins with each of you. So if you're not a member of our chamber, then join one of your local chambers. They do great work on your behalf. And if you're lucky enough as I am to lead a great organization like a Chamber of Commerce, then you know when you wake up on that new mattress and have had a great night's sleep, you're thinking about our members, their businesses, and their success. And that's who we are. That's our goal. That's our mission. Have a great week, everybody.